welcome to this live with Chow Rules. I appreciate you coming and joining me for this special event. I'm going to be talking about some interesting topics, including Admiralty Maritime and some salvage right laws, and also get into some ads and stuff like that that's happening with AI. So, anyway, appreciate you joining me. And if anything is like off with the microphone or the music being too loud, whatever, just let me know at any time. So anyway, I want to tell you about this wild thing that happened to me. So I went to watch a firework display, and this was the best firework display that I have ever seen in my life. I mean, when I say the best firework, the grand finale was over 2 minutes straight, and like I have so many great 30-second little clips of it. Apparently, this company named Fireworks by Gucci or something was the name of it. Grucci, not Gucci, Grucci. And this was one of the most amazing fireworks displays I've ever seen. And or before that, they had something called the Parade of Sails, and I saw all these beautiful vessels from all over the world. I'm talking Greece, Argentina, Peru, Mexico, like all these huge vessels with 4 or 5 masts, 100, 200 crews on it and stuff like that. The Blue Angels flew over. I posted on my story. It was pretty cool. So after we watched that, we went around on the vessel. We went around, and y'all are not going to believe this. This was absolutely wild. This 70 or 80-foot vessel that had its anchor down was somehow I thought it was having engine troubles or something, and whatever the turbulence had a 20-foot skiff that was tied up to the back. The turbulence from the propellers was causing the skiff to like beat the side of the boat, and it beat the boat so hard that all the ropes snapped. And I didn't know this at the time. I wasn't even thinking about it, but I grabbed my phone because the 70-foot vessel, like this is a $2 million vessel. I was filming this. I was ready to watch this thing crash into a brick wall, and I was going to post it. It would have gotten millions of views. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, I'm just watching because vessels don't have brakes. It's all about like friction. So this vessel's heading towards this brick wall, and I'm sitting there filming it, and he slams it in reverse and like barely misses the wall. I'm talking by maybe 3 foot or whatever, and then starts backing up. Well, at this time, we flagged a barge to ask them like this. There's this free floating vessel in the water that's probably 20 foot long, probably 30 grand, something like that. And we told the tugboat to go help them because I was on a 60-foot long vessel and it's not easy to maneuver. Well, this little tugboat comes over, and I didn't know this at the time, but this tugboat's coming over and it's trying to grab this vessel because apparently under Admiralty Maritime law, when there is an unanchored, unmanned, free-floating vessel, you can grab it, okay? So this tugboat comes over to grab this free-floating vessel, and then the guy off of the other yacht like jumps off into the Elizabeth River and tries and swims over to the boat and gets on board of it so he could claim the vessel again, like it was their vessel. And while the boat was backing up, the rope got caught in the propeller and snapped, and like it was a wild, crazy event. All this happened within the course of about 5 or 6 minutes, and I had front row seats watching all this. And so later the tugboat came up to the back of our boat, and the captain threw them a couple beers, and they said that they were going to sell that boat for like $500. Like they didn't even care about it. But it's just wild that salvage rights kicked in immediately once that boat broke free from the other vessel and just started free floating without any anchors, any personnel or any crew or captain on it. Like you can just grab it. And so it was wild watching. The guy was like, oh no, not my boat, and just jumped into the river and started swimming again on the boat and stuff like that. So that was kind of wild, and it reminds me of how we get caught up in the shenanigans of stuff like ownership, right? So even though Admiralty, and that's one of my weak areas, like studying Admiralty Maritime Law, but I do know this, I know how this works everywhere. Even though that the vessel was free floating and free and could be grabbed by somebody, it's still registered to the state. And that is one of the only things that I'm not 100% sure of, is like how to navigate waters, especially international waters, under your own vessel that's under your own flag and own jurisdiction without being like under the state or something, because you don't have to register it, right? So you can get a large vessel, but if the Coast Guard approaches you, just the same thing as like on the road, right? Because the roads have adopted mostly Admiralty maritime laws is how they kind of operate out there. During times of war, you're supposed to allow the police officers to inspect to make sure you're not engaged in enemy activities. Well, I don't know what would happen if you had a vessel out in the water and the Coast Guard, came and approached you and was searching everything and making sure you had all your, all the life vests that you needed and all this stuff. And if the boat is not registered, I guess depending on how you create your portfolio with it, if you put it in a trust or you have your own jurisdiction, I think you would have to have the allodial title to properly, well, I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't think the land would have to be like having water on it. For instance, like you had a allodial title to land that had waterfront property to it. I don't think that would be necessary in order to create a jurisdiction to have a flag to fly your own vessel, okay? But I think you would have to be recognized out on the water. I feel like you would have to put notification out like big time, like like to the world, start to get registered or acknowledged, not registered, get acknowledged by like the IMF or the big players out there that acknowledge nations. And that's a funny story about how the U.S. did not want to acknowledge the southern states when they want to secede from the nations because during the peace treaty of the Civil War, they didn't want to give the southern states acknowledgement on a peace treaty because it would have given them international rights as acknowledging that they existed. So, but when it comes to a boat, and you get boarded by the Coast Guard, who is a unique entity in itself, like it's kind of like has a whole different type of governance. So does the Army Corps of Engineers and stuff like that. But the Coast Guard is very unique in how they are funded. Now, I'm not, like I said, it's one of my weak study points is Admiralty maritime law, and I have seen and witnessed and heard that anybody who invokes that in the court, like judges do not want to play with that stuff. So you can invoke any jurisdiction you want, and from what I've heard and what I've studied and seen is when people go into court and they start claiming Admiralty maritime, they want to remain in Admiralty, like judges, and I think the reason for that is because if a judge is involved in a maritime case with you, they are 100% liable for everything. Like their oaths and their blankets of protection do not apply in that type of arena. So I think that is the reason why that judges do not want to mess with you if you're claiming Admiralty maritime law inside of a courtroom. But anyway. That's one of the things that happened this weekend. So it was wild just watching all those fireworks and the boats freaking almost getting claimed by not necessarily pirates, but because the guy was like, I was going to sell it for $500, and this is a freaking $30,000 boat that was just free floating and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me on this live. I try to come on here when I can. Stuff gets really busy. These freaking ads, that's one of the things I was going to talk about. On my YouTube on my phone. Do you know what this sucker starts doing now? So I have it playing on my phone in the car, and if I touch my phone, like not touching any buttons, any sides, if I move my phone, like I know iPhones have like a level self-leveling thing inside of it. If I move my phone, it will instantly jump into an ad. It's like it knows that I'm picking up the phone and it wants to immediately jump into an ad. And what Amazon Prime started doing on the TV, and I thought somebody hacked my account because I got on my Amazon Prime and I saw a $1,500 like robot cleaning machine that was in my cart. It was in my cart on my Amazon thing, and I was like, somebody hacked me. I don't know who, because I don't want to spend $1,500 on a freaking Roomba in my house. I'm having a whole nother ball of issues with the robot that cuts the grass right now. Like, do not get Momotion, guys. Momotion is terrible. That is a terrible, terrible robot. I have been fighting for 4 months with 2 different robots to try to get them to function properly, and it's just a whole thing. But anyway, these ads. So on Amazon Prime, for instance, if you on the screen when it goes on a commercial, it says like if you touch the wrong button, it will immediately add that product or service into your cart. And I did it once, and the only reason I know that that's what happened to my Amazon cart is because I actually started reading what's going on with the ads, and it says if you press up or you press left or you press the wrong button on your remote, it will automatically go, whatever they're playing, will automatically go into your cart on Amazon. And that's what apparently happened for that little like Roomba, the cleaning thing. It's like, what in the world? I had no idea. I thought I got hacked again, but so ads are, one of the ways that people or companies raise revenue. And I'm hearing like chatter about like AI. So right now we're all getting the free cusp of all the beautiful things that AI can do, right? So they're getting everybody used to it. Everybody's going to be leaning on it, and then they're going to pull the rug. And when they pull the rug after everybody, it could be a year from now, it could be whatever. When they pull the rug, everybody's going to be like, oh man, they're going to start charging crazy. I'm telling you, for property management, I love it. Drawing up contracts, I'll throw inspection reports on there. I can pull out basically work orders and compile stuff and give it to. It's like for a $20 daggone assistant, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. But what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up starting to raise revenue through ads. And you'll notice some of these AI companies, when you're asking for advice or whatever, they will start to push certain, just like in Google, like when you search something, you will see the first top rows are all sponsors, right? Because it's all about paying, getting that extra. It's digital slumlords. That's what it's all about. Everybody's being digital landlords. Anyway, guys, a recap of this live will be on my YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have exclusive content on all my social medias, which are linked on my website. My website is anointednewfoundationofpeace.net. .life, daggone. And that's on my profile page of TikTok. You'll see it linked on there, along with playlists to help re-educate everybody, show everybody the 3 different paths that I teach about, which is nature, spirit, and commerce. And I also have, you want to see something funny, look at my daggone YouTube. So when I post a video on YouTube now, I'm so shadow banned on that sucker right there that I will get 3 views. And 2 of them are me, because I watch it when I post it to make sure it's all right online, and then I listen to it in my car at a later date. And the only other third viewer that I can think of would be my handler, because everything that I post has to go through them in order for them to approve it. And of course, they're not going to approve it. They don't want my stuff to go out to anybody. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about health. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about chemtrails. It doesn't matter if I'm just being funny, picking my nose and twerking. Like, it is not going to go to anybody, so it's just, that. But I'm here to try to help everybody. One of my main missions on this walk is to try to make sure that I can guide everybody on a case-by-case basis in equity, in spirit, in truth, to allow everybody the best optimal position in life, because I was very, very lucky to be able to study and spend a lot of time to help myself by self-educating while also being able to survive out there. So not a lot of people are in that position. They're not usually able to so I have a question out there. My last live, I didn't have 1 comment. It was like the first time out of 85 lives that I didn't have 1 comment. And so far, I've been on here for 15 minutes and I have not seen another comment. Can anybody comment on my live? Is there some restriction or something? If anybody could send like a wave or a smiley face or something, because I don't know if I'm so blocked. I know that, oh, there we go. I can read it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure, because like they'll remove 30,000 likes from me just out of the blue. And normally they won't tell a lot of people when I go on live and stuff like that. TikTok used to be really great at until it switched owners and stuff. Cool guys. I'm glad, and I don't. Y'all don't have to say nothing. Feel free to ask any and all questions. I just wanted to verify that there wasn't some kind of issue, because I had never had that before, where I talk for 30-40 minutes and nobody says anything. So at least y'all can. I just wanted to make sure that what does it say? You didn't complete your Heart Me mission. not in your fan club. Oh, it's adding all this extra stuff. y'all are good. I appreciate you. I'm glad y'all came out here to join me. Feel free to ask any y'all questions. Again, that's what this time is set aside for, is to try to help everybody and the best of my abilities. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody joined my fan club. Who did that? How do I see who even? Oh, Gregory. Gregory, your name's so long it won't even read it off. But thank you, Gregory. Appreciate it. Much appreciate, Gregory. Um, so anyway, when getting caught up in the ownership of things, for instance, so the guys they're all scrambling for this vessel, which I ain't gonna lie, it's a $30,000 vessel that's just free floating, okay, and the guy who bought it, of course, he doesn't want to let that boat up, right? So he's diving in after it, and then the tugboat was going to grab it, but it's still registered and controlled to the state. And back to jurisdictional venues on vessels, my best guess is if you wanted to travel on the water, unless you were going submarine style. Now, if you're going submarine style, I think the only issue you'd have is if like the Navy is wondering what the heck these bleeps and bloops are and find you on some radar or whatever that. But if you're above the water, which is kind of interesting, water maritime is a very, very unique kind of jurisdiction. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, when a vessel is under siege or getting ready to go through some type of turbulence or something, the captain has special jurisdiction to be able to kill. He can even kill somebody if it will mean saving all of the lives of the crew and all of the cargo. Because when you're out at sea, and the integrity of the vessel is more important than a life, which is very, very unique, because the hull of the vessel is what is protecting all of the lives. So that is like one of the unique things that I've also learned about Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction is that. And other than that, I'm kind of like, I grew up around ships and vessels. I know that there's all kinds of unique definitions for things, scallywags and poop deck. I was telling somebody else about swabbing the poop deck, and it was my girl, and she was like, "What is the poop deck?" I was like, "I think it's the main deck where everybody walks. I don't know if there's a specific part, if it's like in the bow or the aft or the galley, the lazarette. There's so many different little terminologies and words for vessels and stuff that most people aren't privy to. And the same thing applies with the legal system. The legal system has so many different kinds of words and definitions for specific things that if you're not very well learned in that area or that field or the expertise, you can get walked over. It's the same thing as like trying to go on the basketball court in the NBA and trying to switch up, dribble good, and like basically fool one of these master basketball players. They've trained in it. They're good in it. Every single field is very similar. Gregory, yes, the restrictions are very crazy, and it's my girlfriend is actually going through the same thing as I am. Like we're having very similar experiences with what she's going through and what I'm going through. So what I'll have, like for instance, I'll have TikTok. They'll remove one of my videos. Like, so I have 130 videos or something that I've posted and made. They'll randomly remove one or whatever, and if I don't catch it within 7 days, and then I try to appeal it, it'll say, "Oh, you missed your appeal window. You can't appeal it anymore. It is no longer allowed to be viewed by certain things or whatever." Now, I was watching one of my last lives, and it said that I was being flagged for false information, and I was just talking about something that's publicly, you're able to look it up, and I don't know how. When I listen to it, I'm like, what are they talking about? I have no idea why they're trying to say I'm giving false information. But that's my battle. That's the hill that I gotta fight up, and all the time. So anyway, I appreciate all of y'all for joining me again. I did want to talk about the firework displays. I don't know if any of y'all have seen. Rev, what's up? How you doing? I don't know if any of y'all have seen the drone. I've seen videos of them, but I haven't seen a real life drone light show. But the fireworks mixed with the drones are insane. But the last fireworks show, I'm telling you, hands down, I had front row seats. I wasn't on a vessel this time, but I was on a dock on a pier, and it was just it was mind blowing. It just, for 2 minutes of grand finale, the whole thing was probably 15 minutes long. How do I? I had to cough for a second, so I don't want to hear that in my car later when I'm driving, being like hawk hawk hawk. So anyway, how are all y'all doing out there? I appreciate it. All right, so the poop deck is at the stern above the roof of the captain's aft cabin. That is very, very specific. Officers monitor crew from it. Okay, I thought it was more of a bigger area because when for some reason I wonder why they call it the poop deck. That sounds terrible. Is that where all the birds poop at? Just anyway, heart to you, Rev. Appreciate you. Thanks everybody for all your gifts. Your gifts will be used to help me help others on this mission. I tried my best to continue to update my portfolio on my website and continue to. I'm gaining all the time. I'm downloading videos, but I have been kind of leaning towards Instagram on data content. For some reason, TikTok just wants to promote all kinds of products. And well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Instagram does it too, and they get sneaky with it. They start to make it to where you think it's a normal clip, and then they start to try to like sneak in at the bottom. It's hey, this is an ad, and if you don't catch it, it'll get by on you and stuff. But promoting and commercials, because a lot of in our lifetime, it has changed so much. After the 9/11, I was talking to one of my business partners and they were kind of on the fence about the 9/11 thing, and I was like, she said, oh, you don't think it was a terrorist attack? I was like, 3 guys with box cutters didn't take over 3 planes. I mean, Building 7 didn't even get hit, and it fell. And I've watched videos of all the psh, 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 and it falling in its own footprint. But I tell you the craziest thing I saw about this, and I don't know how we got into 9/11, but nobody's asking any questions. Hold on. Latin pupus has nothing to do with bathrooms. So it's poopus. So why are we keeping the poopus part of the Latin and not the deck? Because I doubt deck's freaking Latin. So anyway, one of the craziest things I've seen is the technology used to vaporize metal. Okay, and there's a documentary called "Where Did the Towers Go?" All right, but anyway, I was talking to my business partner about it, and I basically said, what happened after 9/11? And she's like, they had to clean it up, and so I was like, no, the Patriot Act happened, and this was right around, believe it or not, when the internet started to explode. Okay, it was slowly growing, but when the internet was starting to explode to go international and go like that, they had to put a throttle checkpoint on all of the information. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate you joining me, man. So in order to do that, the Patriot Act was invoked, right, where they could basically monitor any citizens like without a warrant, anything, because as they implemented, it's just been a very, very slow. Oh yeah, that's what it is. I started watching a documentary called the Convenience of Something. It was basically talking about how we've built this trap of social media because of the convenience of all the things that it's brought on. What's up, Wu-Tang Slayer? And because of where it started from, right? It started to grow where it used to be where you would work on your computer and then you would just walk away from it. That's how it kind of started. You wouldn't bring it with you. Like who wants to work all? That's what I do. I work everywhere on my phone. I'm moving contractors. I'm making calls, all that stuff, all day long, and so it started where you could just put down the computer, walk away, and that was it. Now our computers and phones are tracking us, and we're on it all the time. And now, so what the most profitable thing is selling our data and selling our analytics and selling our capabilities and what we are. And I've even watched a documentary on how they fluctuate prices based on what they think you will pay. So for instance, Amazon will have all of these algorithms of who they think you are and what you will pay for something. They've shown where different people will log in and look at different places at different times, and they have different prices because they have this algorithms that thinks, oh, you know what, Chow Rules will pay $5 for this item. If we, it's all they're trying to throttle and gauge to get people to pay the most that they can because not everybody can afford the same amount. So they're actually fluctuating, much like a hotel does during peak season and low season. Well, that's what AI is starting to help them with. So it's getting kind of crazy. But anyway, back to wow, I am the king of rabbit trails over here. So back to 9/11. So after 9/11. They implemented the Patriot Act. Oh, violation. Cool, I'm getting flagged for misinformation. Oh, man. Oh, I got two of them. Yo, I got two flags on the field for talking about the Patriot Act because that's what happened after 9/11. Wow. I hope whoever's flagging me can look that up and verify that that's actually true instead of, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. So how can I colorably say that all of the Wizard of Oz, if y'all know what the Oz means, all of the Wizard of Oz disappeared from the basement of the structures immediately after the digit with the two ones. Okay, I hope that was subliminal enough to not get flagged for misinformation. I hope y'all wink wink understand what I'm talking about because I cannot speak freely. This tough. It's tough being shadow banned, blackballed, and all that stuff. It's not fun sometimes. But anyway, so when I told her about that, when I told her the results of because you always follow the money. When you follow the money, you kind of understand what was going on. So that was clear. I'm glad. All right. I liked how critical thinkers can actually put stuff together and others can. So I told her like after all that happened, and I was basically like a building that is made out of steel and brick and reinforced that gets hit by something that's aluminum is not capable of falling. Like apparently this is the only time in history that a fire brought down a steel reinforced structure. But what I was also getting at on this whole story was I watched a documentary called Where Did the Towers Go? And I don't remember exactly where it is, what time frame it is, but if you fast forward to it, they came up with a word because they didn't even know what to call it, and it was called dustification. If you watch, and I watched with my own eyes, and I was like, I thought I had saw everything involving this topic. If you look on my website, you can see all of the research that I've done. One of my top up there was C-19, because I lost my job over that and had a whole bunch of problems with them, almost went bankrupt. But I'd rather lose my job and money than my life. So, and then right below that, flat Earth. Like I put in some work on that. That is crazy. But 9 and 2 digits that are similar. I did a lot of work on that as well, and I have all compiled all these videos. But I had never seen this before. And what happened is if you watch at this point in time on this documentary, there are huge steel structures that are sticking up like this, and then all of a sudden the steel literally goes and just completely disappears. And they called it dustification of steel. And I have never seen anything like that before. I don't know what technology that was, what was used, but it was not just demo, self within, like we all should do. We should all do self-destroying. Gregory the Jam Man. Sovereign Network is live now. Use internet and keep your data. Is that like Sovereign Network something? Is that like an alternate type of web browsing or something? I've never heard of that. Sovereign Network. Is it a group? Decentralized internet infrastructure. The Sovereign Network, if I can say this without getting flagged for misinformation, is a decentralized internet infrastructure built on zero-knowledge privacy and post-quantum cryptography. It aims to replace centralized internet services with a community-owned mesh network where participants earn SOV tokens for routing data. I've heard some of these data centers are miners. They're Bitcoin miners. Governance is handled through decentralized autonomous organizations, and universal basic income is distributed to all verified citizens. That sounds sus. So is basic income getting pushed out like through crypto? Because I also don't really trust crypto. I don't trust money because like time doesn't exist, and then so time is money. And so if time doesn't exist, and then so money shouldn't either. Money doesn't really exist either because it's like a figment of our imagination, like our consciousness that creates it out there. And it's so funny the way I see things. I see the world. I can actually hold on one second. Got a cough. I can actually like see the way the networks and how everybody's bound by mammon, basically bound by money. How they have to get up, get out, be productive, join the rat race to try to earn all of these false dollars that are backed by nothing, just to keep the lights on. And everybody's got their hands out. Everybody is taxing and tagging, and it's just it's a terrible game that doesn't even exist, because it's all fiat, it's fictional. But I mean, I could look more into that. That is another one of my weak fields. Is I haven't done a whole lot of coding on computers, and I've done some IT stuff, but when I set up a firewall for my mesh router or whatever, because I didn't want Wi-Fi in my house, I had to go through a gateway, a firewall, and a switch and all that stuff. And I got into the details on this thing, and it was a whole nother foreign language. Oh, no, there was a documentary called "The Convenience of Something." Hold on. I wish I remember the other word, because I'm like 15 or 20 minutes in. It usually takes me like a week to watch one documentary or movie if I ever had the time. The Convenience of, maybe it's technology. Documentary. Netflix. Let's see if that's it. Because Netflix. Let's see. I don't know if it's called The Convenience of Technology. It's on. No, it's on. I watched it on. I wonder if I can pull up my Amazon, like, and somehow search what I've been watching on here. I mean, because they are connected. Prime Video. Prime Video. I don't know if it could show like what I was watching. So it's under movies. Let's see. I don't know if I'll find it. I could definitely shoot a long shot though and see. Let me see if I can search. Oh, that's one of the things I hated about this is I can't search. Oh, I can. Convenience. The Cost of Convenience. Okay, that's the name of it. So and it explains. It's starting to explain how the internet progressed and then explained how the Patriot Act was implemented in order to like start to monitor all that stuff, because all of a sudden everybody had unlimited access to all kinds of things as it was starting to grow. But I'm only, I think I said 15 minutes earlier, but I don't know.
When fear grips us, it really grips us, and all we want to do is get rid of the risk that is.
The Cost of Convenience so far seems to be really, really good on kind of laying out everything on how we grew from being, on the green screen of a desktop that couldn't follow you to now having the phones. And I tell you, for my kids, it's terrible. It's like a cursed blessing, because if I want to wash a dish, when I have both of them, if I have one, night and day, completely different. But if I have both of them, just to go to the bathroom or wash a dish, it's like, here, use the tablet so that you're not destroying something or tearing something up. But it ends up giving them so much dopamine, especially like playing Roblox or whatever, that when they put the screen down, the rest of reality is completely boring to them. So they're sitting there, and the same thing that happens with social media. It's hard to put down the phone sometimes, because it's like, oh wow, look at that rabbit flying across the the ice, or then next it's like, oh, wow, I love learning how to sheet metal bend, and the next thing's, oh yeah, drilling, or on and on and on and on. I personally love studying all types of topics, all types of subjects, because unfortunately I'm not a huge fan of relying on other people, and it's hard to do sometimes. I'm starting to slowly gain a really good work core of people that can help me on all the things that I need for property management and construction. And I'm helping my friend who's has a construction company, and we have a 3-tiered approach, which is it's construction. I really want to do just not for profit. It's really what I want to do, but nobody wants to contract with a not for profit. It's just, they kind of look at it and it's like, yeah, but when you work in the profit game, you are taxed so heavily. It is just a absolute nightmare of getting taxed, because you're trying to gain money off of using that system, and it's a terrible nightmare. Yeah, metal dusting of steel is a catastrophic form of high temperature dry corrosion. That's interesting. I know that they use thermite. I saw the beams that were cut cleanly, and you can see it spraying spraying basically out. But I don't know about how a steel beam that is 150 foot tall sticking up, like this isn't just a little piece of metal that was sticking up. The entire building's infrastructure was sticking up hundreds of feet out of the ground, and then it slowly just went completely to dust. Like, I mean, it was, if somehow thermite did that, I don't know. That causes solid metal to disintegrate into a fine powder of graphite and metal particles. Okay, I was thinking it was some type of acoustic resonator or something, because I don't know the validity of the Cutchison effect, but I've watched him be able to like put bowling balls through steel, bend metal spoons, so apparently the story is Hutchinson, I don't remember his first name. He got all this surplus army and military stuff and started messing around with all the frequencies and sine waves and somatics of different pulses and all this stuff. And he started to figure out the frequency of all these different types of materials. And he was able to like levitate stuff. When I watched the levitation of one of the objects, so it looked really fake. But a lot of the stuff that they were showing looked insane, how they put ceramic through a steel plate and stuff like that, for instance, inside of the middle of it. But all right, so I think I can actually copy some of what you've said. I cannot. I'm gonna have to look it up. So what did you call it? It was let's see, catastrophic. It's a steel. So how do I look it up though? Causes solid metal. Do I look up the whole thing you said, which is metal dusting of steel? Dusting of steel. Let's see. I've got some dust pans, so I can sweep up the steel. Metal dusting 101 catastrophic corrosion. I found it. Metal dusting is a catastrophic form of corrosion degradation that occurs when susceptible metals alloys disintegrate rapidly to a dust to fine. Well, that's what happened. Okay. But so how would that be implemented on steel beams inside of a building? Well, I know that they were able to plant stuff inside of it to be able to do the control that they did for it to fall inside of its own footprint. But I'm wondering if the beams, it was premeditated as far as when it was put. Oh, my connection timed out. It wouldn't even let me join it. But at least I have the page up and I'm able to look at it later. So I'll check it out. It was painted on. Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys. This is new information to me. I mean, I knew basically the whole high level of it, what happened, why it happened, and what happened after it. But I'd never seen metal in the air just turn into dust. That used to be. Now, in order to create this corrosive degradation, is there some type of event that needs to happen to, like, can you electrify it, or can you shoot sound waves at it or something? I don't know how all of it would instantly turn into dust at a time that's dead or premeditated. That's what I'm trying to say. My freaking brain's just bouncing around in there. I don't know how that would happen, but thank you guys for that. I love learning. I love networking. I love networking now. When I was a little younger and trying to become, I was up on a board of the previous company that I worked at. They wanted me to network, and I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't that fun watching a bunch of old people drinking alcohol, talking about their yachts and their llamas and doing train rides and stuff like that. I've always been into like the secret, crazy, esoteric stuff, which is why I'm fighting to even be able to talk without being shadow banned or flagged for misinformation. Even though I've done the research, I'm always open to, like, please TikTok, if I'm tell me what is false. because they never will. And I've also had that problem on my they'll ban a video that I post, and then I'll talk to customer service. I'll say, okay, tell me what's false, anything, please. And they never come up with anything. They never will, because it's not about that. It's about throttling me down, putting a throat on my neck, and keeping me quiet from talking and teaching to people. And it's just not profitable to them. Anyway, guys, I do appreciate you coming out here and joining me on this live. Feel free to ask any and all questions. My main mission is to guide y'all into the 3 different paths of nature, spirit, and commerce, and show you the illumination that binds us all. We can't do anything without any of those. Feel free to rewatch this live. It'll be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have exclusive social medias, or content on all my social medias that are linked on my website, which is linked on my profile page of TikTok. And, I have a library on my website as well. It's free for everybody. All the stuff that I compiled for, a decade or so for y'all to browse around on and stuff like that. And, this was a much better live. I'm telling you, it was just the strangest thing, talking for 30 minutes and not having, it was just not one comment. It was like, but I will say, I was talking about my kids. I was talking about how much I was complaining about them. So maybe that might have been why. I have to have water, man. My mouth will start to just go crazy. So how's everything? It was so hot today. Oh my gosh, I just be out there melting. I'm trying to get some things kind of rehabbed at my place. I'm trying to fix up another place for one of the properties that I manage. I did a study on it and found out that it could be better served as an employee workhouse. And I talked to some people that do that. Like on single family homes, you can have up to 4 different roommates. You can't call it a room house or have different locks on different doors or a different lease on each one, but you can have 4 different strangers that live in a house, in a single family home. And it was kind of like a way to try to help somebody get some, I don't know, I give consultations to a lot of people. It's just in the for-profit and not-for-profit world. And one of the things that I don't like doing is deflating people's sales, especially when they're on this mission and they're just running full force and trying to learn everything, and then like I come along and just Debbie down them, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I just try to tell people I have done a lot of studies, and this is my understanding of the way things are. And if you know a different way or something better, for instance, the catastrophic dustification of metal. I didn't know. Back when this documentary came out, and I don't know when it was, where did the towers go? I want to know when that documentary came out. Judy Wood. So it was made by Judy Wood. Let's see. This was on no, it's not 2001. But she broke down everything. It was put out on September 11th also? 2013. Okay. I guess. I don't know. So yeah, it's been out for over 10 years, but there's so much stuff that's suppressed. There's so much information that all of us are not being allowed to see or know, or like for medical stuff, to how to heal properly. And one of the most disturbing facts that I'm looking at is just the death by the 1,000 cuts of our air's being polluted, our water's being polluted, our food has so many synthetic byproducts and heavily chemical, it's just terrible. And all of this stuff combined, especially all the Wi-Fi signals that are bombarding us day in and day out. And then on top of that, you've got work and money, and everybody's got their hands out, and it's just like an endless crazy nightmare that if you're not very well grounded and centered, it can basically take you off your kilt. And one of the hardest things to do is self-sacrificing, and that is a good way to gain status and ability in a different arena than we're used to operating in. When you start to self-sacrifice your desires and your wants, it's much like, so the natural realm kind of is a shadow, and they even tell you this in the allegory of Plato's cave. the natural realm is nothing but a shadow of what the reality is of the spiritual stuff. So when you work out and you break down your natural temple, it regrows, you know. So when you it regrows back stronger if it's given the right nutrients and time and all that stuff. Now, when it comes to the spiritual side, it's very similar. When you start to sacrifice your natural body in a healthy way, for instance, like not eating. Okay, so if you fast, you know, you'll actually start to heal your body. If you refrain from lusting, you know, you're saving that energy and that ability inside of you, and you'll what is it called, recycle it. And I don't know if y'all have studied the Christ body, where, you know, the fluid that goes, the Christus fluid that goes in the spine all the way up to the brain and the pineal gland. And I think it's on a cycle. I think it's on like a 21-day cycle or something like that, or 13 days. I don't remember exactly how it is, but it's when you sacrifice things, not in an unhealthy way. I'm not talking about going out and doing what the opposite is, what like rappers and performers and celebrities do in order to gain status. And that's an unfortunate thing. How the spiritual realm works is, in order for certain celebrities to reach the next level, they have to do certain things that, if they don't, they will get blackballed, shadow banned, and blacklisted, like I am on all these social medias when I try to promote healthy, well-educated people, because that's what I'm trying to do, which is the last thing they want. By they I mean the people that control all of the social media, all of the outlets, all of our education, all of our medical, all of the money, all that stuff. So, but if you find peace within, that is where you start. You find that peace within, and then you can ground yourself and meditate out of this realm, actually, which is not very many people can do it, but you can meditate out of this natural realm and just go on. 5-5 hole. Thank you for the is it 55 hole? Thank you for the roses. Much appreciated. I'm grateful for all you guys. I appreciate all the time that y'all have spent with me and learning. You can watch a recap of this if you'd like to on YouTube, audio on my Telegram group. Feel free to ask any and all questions. I'm going to enjoy listening to this live again on YouTube. I used to have Telegram on my phone, but it took up so much space, because I've been talking on there for years and years and years. I was posting, it took up all the space because I was posting so many documents and so many videos and so many audios, and I decided what was best is put everything in Dropbox. So most of my content is actually on Dropbox, but it's good because it's accessible to anybody all over the world. You can download it. I have people coming from Turkey and China and Thailand and Mexico, like all over the world. I love it. Like, that's the beauty of this technology that we're using, and it's amazing that you can reach so many people through the airwaves. I love it. You can heal people. I didn't know that when I started this game, that you like Reiki masters and stuff like that can actually heal you through the internet. It's pretty cool. 55 hole. Yes, you are amazing. I can't believe you are live. I have watched hours of your videos. Really? Well, then you are brainwashed in a good way. Hopefully you're clean. I'm glad I could help. Honestly, that's one of the greatest joys I have is teaching people and helping them wake up and changing lives. You know, I've changed millions of people's lives. I've reached millions, and it's an honor to be able to use this platform that I hate. I love it and I hate it, right? Everything, and you know, that's the way everything is. Everything has a plus and a pro and a con when you think about it. You know, relationships the same way. Oh my gosh, Father's Day, what a joke that was with my family. I'm not gonna get into all that jazz, but anyway, I appreciate you. Also, you are the reason why I'm here. You know, I try my best to make time to get on here. And yes, I was doing commerce talk. I talked about all kinds of things, Final Zero Link. I talked about Admiralty, maritime jurisdictions, business, banking law, all that stuff. You have to like rewatch the live unless you want to ask a specific question, but I was talking about everything. So this is kind of a free-for-all. I usually start with a couple topics, and if somebody chimes in, hey, thank you for joining my fan club, Final Zero. If somebody asks a question, you know, as long as it's semi-appropriate. I mean, I have had people try to draw male genitalias with comments and stuff like that. That's funny, but I don't talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno, you know what I'm saying? But feel free to ask any and all questions if you want, and I'll do my best to guide you towards the light. But again, a lot of people want me to hold their hands for every step, and I cannot do that. I can show you where the water is, but I can't force you to drink or make you to drink. But eventually you'll get thirsty, and if you want that water, I will show you and I will guide you in case by case. So feel free to DM me if you don't want to post anything publicly here. You can email me. I stopped this water right here. I'll give you some of this water. Now the water that I'm talking about is spiritual or commercial or natural. Those are the things that I show people, the three different lights, the three different jurisdictions that govern our realities, okay, that we all have to play in. Our spiritual body, our natural body, and our commercial body. And we have to, learn how to be in harmony with everything in order to grow properly. Now most people just want to grow in the natural realm with commerce, which is kind of segued into, our spirit. They do it in reverse. But we should be, wholly centered spiritually, operating through the natural with our commerce being in love. It's kind of like a whole beautiful type of type thing. What is it? But anyway, yeah, so if you have a specific question, I have made tons of videos that help people, even playlists of foundation, nature, spirit, and commerce, and top 3 habits to keep in which area. So I could definitely give some good top 3 habits. Caddyshack, that's it. Yeah, I knew somebody would catch that stuff. My top 3 habits are, giving thanks inside of myself, not saying it out loud. Giving thanks for a lot. Whenever you actually drink natural water, you should be very grateful. Whenever you eat natural food, you should be very grateful. Same thing if you eat commercial food, which is kind of like reading or, commerce is everything though. You can't do anything without it. But our spiritual body and our natural body, bringing them in harmony and flow and taking control it takes a lot of practice. But definitely giving thanks is one of my top habits. I would also say grounding, okay, taking your shoes off, getting out there on the earth and actually feeling it. I'm one of the few people that can stare at the sun, the natural light, the temporary light, and it actually has the opposite effect on me than it does with most people. Most people will look at the sun when they're getting ready to sneeze and it will stop. When I stare at the sun, it actually makes me sneeze because it's cleansing my body, especially when you're earthing. But I would say earthing. I would say giving thanks and everything. And the most important of all is your being, who you are at the moment, how you come from. You should always come from peace and love, and that is like the most harmonious way to operate out there, and it's not easy, especially when you got kids screaming at you and throwing stuff. Sneezing can be a good thing. Yeah, absolutely. Sneezing, same thing with when you got mucus and a cold. Mucus is your body trying to expel dis-ease, because all of the nasty stuff that we eat every single day, 3 meals a day, like everything we've ever been taught is completely wrong. We're supposed to have multiple sleep patterns, not just a full 8 hours. We're supposed to eat whole, alkaline, natural, organic foods that have minerals in them. All the stuff in the grocery store has been stripped of everything. So I try to supplement with all that stuff. Our education system is not really teaching the best. I'm going to say this in a colorful way. It's not teaching the best of its ability that it could be, because it's funded by people that really don't want us very well educated. They want us taught for certain things. There's so many documentaries on how it's created to make employees, But the best way to cleanse mucus is to fast. I would say fast. You can take water and get a few days of just not eating garbage, because you were continuously eating 3 meals of heavily processed, chemically laden, preservative filled. All the food out there is grown with pesticides, herbicides, growth hormones, all that stuff, and it's terrible for us. And you can actually, it's hard to believe this, but you can actually absorb energy through all of your chakras, through all of the outside energy, through all of the three lights: the natural light, the spiritual light, and the commercial light. The natural light is the spot with blemishes. That's a temporary light that is for our two eyes of division. The spiritual light is not seen unless it's during an eclipse, but normally your natural eyes cannot see them, but your spiritual eye can. And the commercial light is the moon, which toggles between nature and spirit, and that's why it goes through different phases of being visible and invisible. And if you look at the spectrum of light that our natural eyes can see, it is just a tiny little speck of what the full light spectrum is, because that's where the spiritual stuff is like that explains it all right there. Our natural bodies can deal and see in this tiny little thing right here, but there's actually this much light out there, or illumination. Nobody can actually see light. You can only see that which is illuminated, and the spiritual light is illuminating on a different plane that we can't physically see with our eyes. You can feel it, you can sense it, and if you unlock your pineal gland through practice and stuff like that, you can operate in the spiritual realm pretty good outside of just sleeping. So when you're sleeping, your natural eye becomes awake and your spiritual body is more active, and because you've put your natural body to rest. There's another allegory of the truth. You have to sacrifice and put down this natural body and start to operate in faith, not by sight but by faith. And it's just like it's all there. It's all laid out for us. It's there for us to learn about. All right. Saved by Grace. What is a good brand to get supplements from? All right, so I've studied a lot of different topics to the best of my ability. I don't know about the Sheila Jet stuff. I just started messing with that, but Celtic sea salt has like 92 of the minerals that our bodies need. You don't need vitamins, you need minerals. Irish sea moss and moringa, those two have all of the minerals that our bodies need. If you could be eating cardboard, and as long as you're eating moringa and Irish sea moss and sprinkle in Celtic sea salt and stuff, you'll get minerals that your body needs. Now that's different than caloric intake and other stuff, but and you want to drink alkaline water that is naturally alkaline. So our bodies are made from the earth, with the water. We resonate. That's why we're supposed to be grounded. You're supposed to have your feet on the earth and get grounded well, and we're supposed to drink water from the earth. Water from the earth is naturally alkaline. What ends up happening is we eat a lot of acidic things like sugar, like coffee, like tea, certain things, all the foods we eat, all the GMOs, genetically modified stuff, all that throws our pH balance off. And we're basically like banks. And because we are continually breathing all of the chemtrails and drinking all of the fluoride and washing in it, all of our clothes are synthetic, everything's synthetic. Our seats, our clothes, some of our girlfriends are synthetic. Sorry, I ain't shooting shots at nobody. I thought that was a good opening for a joke. But so all of that stuff. When I'm looking up brands, I don't know the exact names, but I always look for organic, because it's like the least of the evils unless you're going to grow your own stuff. That is really the best way to do it, is grow your own stuff. Organic and vegan capsules. Okay, I look for those on whatever. Oh, my live will end in 5 minutes. No, yeah. Okay, I gotta slide the puzzle. Jump, monkey, jump for me. Yeah, TikTok, I did it. All right. I'm not gonna be banned for another minute. That's good. So that's kind of what I look like when I'm ordering supplements. Is just for those things. Right now, I'm taking dragon's blood. I'm taking Haritaki. I'm taking boron. So boron is naturally derived from fruits. And I started giving them to my kids because one of my kids is kind of on the spectrum a little bit. And he doesn't want to. It's like a vicious cycle. He only wants to eat chicken nuggets and freaking French fries, and they're organic fries, and I feed him plant-based chicken nuggets. But he wants sugar and doesn't want to eat anything healthy. He actually calls he'll eat his boogers, but he won't eat fruit. So trying to get him to eat healthy stuff is just tough. And that's one of the ways to break out of the system of being autistic or trying to climb out of the hole for that. So that's kind of what I took. Not my last live, but the one before that. I actually talked about my entire morning routine on how in the morning when you wake up, that's another good habit. Your mouth is actually nasty because it has removed while you're sleeping. A lot of things are happening, including a lot of stuff from your body is being pulled into your mouth. And so when you wake up, that's why you have a nasty mouth, and you're supposed to spit that out. You're not supposed to swallow it. So every morning I gargle warm water and with sea salt in it and spit out all of the nasty stuff that my body created throughout the entire night, and before I start taking my minerals, and then I'll drink coffee, and that's one of the things I need to cut off of. But anyway, guys, it's been an hour. That's about when my throat starts to want to kick my face in, because I just talk like a continuous nonstop babbler, and I go on a lot of rabbit trails, and my throat kind of does end up getting kind of dry and stuff like that. But unless y'all got any more questions, I'm going to wrap this up. The recap of this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have exclusive content on all my social medias, which are linked on my website, which is linked on my profile page of TikTok. I have playlists to help re-educate everybody on. You can email me and DM me on a case-by-case basis. I do my best to try to help everybody. I hope y'all have a great night. I've loved coming on here and teaching y'all everything. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for all the likes, follows, subscribes, and I appreciate y'all. DM me if y'all want to ask me anything outside of here. All right, guys? So enjoy your night. I hope y'all had a great weekend and Father's Day and all that jazz. Catch you later.